Young David despised high school dances. He wasn't confident in any manner, and he couldn't attract any girls. He also couldn't dance, so he never bothered to try because he was too ashamed. Young David had managed to get a date, though, and he never made eye contact with her past walking through the doors of the dance floor. Present David understands that at the very least there are fundamentals to dancing, which anyone can master. But even more importantly, he's taken the past year or so to develop himself as a man, find his purpose, and allow himself to convey and develop the skills of humility and confidence. He has about him a very crucial layer of openness that allows him to make the most out of every moment possible. He doesn't have to be sure of himself, and even when he makes it known that he's unsure of something and he asks for help from others, other people find it really hard not to respect that kind of attitude and compliment him. You know, they're drawn to him as a person. Recently, I've just attended my senior year prom, and while I noticed that what I'll be talking later in this video about, during my junior prom, I noticed some of these things as well, but I only now just had the inspiration or the idea to talk about what I've learned. So what I noticed was that, you know, in these large social environments, how nervous and terrified everyone else looked. It was a very familiar look that they all had on their faces, one that I had shared all those years prior during my middle and elementary school days, you know, even early high school. You could see the uncertainty in their eyes, and they're practically shaking. Now, maybe you've not had the chance to go to any local dancing events or but this really applies to any dancing environment, any social gathering, and everyone is so focused on themselves that they look around too quickly, so they're not allowed to see the one person in the crowd. They look around at the crowd too quickly to just focus on one person, and none of them can actually realize that they're not alone and that there are countless others that are just like them on that dance floor. And people start taking themselves too seriously, and as a result are afraid to make mistakes. They're in a very self-preservation mindset, and if you see any guys on the dance floor, likely they're all grouped together, towards the middle. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever gone to any, of your school dances. They're packed together so they don't have to do much because, the heat isn't placed on the individual for looking so awkward just for standing there. Now, sometimes the groups of guys will even go as far as to, maintain their coolness by being an absolute asshole to anyone else that is actually trying to dance. They're trying to, be cool in front of the girls or whatever. And, others will find vices in their alcohol, their vapes, drugs, friend groups. And in these situations, can you guess who gets the girls? Is it the one who is having a pretty shitty time, or a neutral time at best, and, has a negative aura surrounding them? Or is it the one who's having a blast just doing their thing in the corner with himself, making friends wherever he goes on the dance floor, because he understands that everyone on that dance floor feels like they're alone. Everyone that's scared and awkward just needs someone to talk to. My situation is that I used to be in a very similar place. I mean, I never joined, the members of the herd on the dance floor, nor did I make fun of the people who were going to dance. But rather, I would be the one that was sitting off to the side and, or I'd be hanging out and, talking to the few people that I knew. As I mentioned before, I had no clue how to even begin dancing. And I was certainly no ladies' man. I was super self-conscious and constantly sweating bullets through my shirts and even my hoodies. Like, my hoodies would be drenched in sweat. I could feel it like dripping down occasionally in class. So how did I go from that to being described as super extraverted, good at everything I do, according to a few people, a good dancer, funny, charismatic, hot, 10 out of 10, built like a man, hardworking, super intelligent, and, like the smartest one here, voted by the room, etc., etc. Well, let me start off by saying that everyone, including you, yes, you reading this right or watching this right now, has the potential. You are so much closer to becoming everything that I just described than you think. Like, with a few minor just attitude adjustments, you're already accomplishing all of the things that you once could only dream of. That is a promise. That is a guarantee. I've done the same thing myself. I know you're probably thinking this is bullshit right now, but just please, bro, trust me. Personally, I cannot believe the kind of comments I get now. The crazy part is that it's been only, from all sorts of people, like inside and outside my age group, social group, area, like my local area, my etc. It's even demographics, race, sex, things like that. And it's taken me a while to even get somewhat comfortable with all of the compliments and the things that people say about me, and to not constantly deflect them all. And even still, I still find myself trying to move the spotlight elsewhere by changing topics or giving the spotlight to someone else. It's been such a short amount of time that I've spent on my self-improvement journey, yet I'm treated and seen as a completely different person, completely separate. And I honestly can't believe it sometimes. Now, it has been a long journey. There have been many changes and struggles and a lot of things that I've learned. But it's been a very short journey at the same time. It's only been a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I didn't have any role models to help me through my specific problems, and for you it may be the same, honestly. But with these posts on my Reddit and with my YouTube channel right here, I plan to do everything I can for those of you that can relate to young David. We all deserve to have this part of our lives unlocked at some point. Don't deny yourself these very basic experiences that we should all just have. I spent the majority of my childhood completely shut off and self-conscious about everything, my body, my education, because I was homeschooled, family, vehicles, job, hairstyles, my parents' jobs, skin complexion, my home, etc., etc. I was a camper child. I grew up in a camper. My dad was a custodian. We drove like an old Dodge Grand Caravan. Just small stuff. And any age past 4 years old, I was completely just sitting at home on my couch, for all of the daylight hours on Minecraft. And hey boys, camera died, sorry about that. But as I was saying, with these YouTube videos and my Reddit, I plan to do everything I can for those of you that can relate to young David. We all deserve to have these parts of our lives unlocked, and at some point or another, because I experienced the majority of my childhood completely shy and self-conscious about my body, my education, clothes, family, vehicles, the jobs we had, hairstyle, skin complexion, home, everything you can imagine. And any age past 4 years old, I was sitting on the couch playing Minecraft for all hours of the day, and many times just staying up through the night. It only got worse with, porn and masturbation, stealing, and, a variety of other games and inappropriate activities, etc. I was a full closet weirdo, and it showed in my physical appearance. Right? I discovered the porn, stuttering, at the age of 7. 17 would be, honestly, more ideal. But no, I discovered it at 7. Then I was homeschooled for several years in between my parents' broken marriage and rigorous work schedules. There weren't any kids in our neighborhood, so I had quite a bit of free time to do what I want. And I say this not to wig anyone out, but to give a better idea of the person I used to be. I continued getting worse and worse and worse. Even turned to cross-dressing and joining some very fucked up Discord servers, just to list a couple things. And that was all the way up until the age of 15 or 16, when I had my first what the fuck moment. I was disgusted with myself, and I had given myself just enough time to sit and think about what it was I was truly doing and who I actually was at this point. Now, junior prom was the first year I actually danced, both by myself and with a girl. I learned maybe 3 really easy dance moves and transitioned through them for the entire 5 hours that prom spanned it across. Right? Now, previous to this, I'd been on self-improvement for maybe a little over a year. I'd got into a healthy relationship after 7 years of being single. I wouldn't say a healthy relationship. I wouldn't say unhealthy, but I had just gotten into a relationship maybe after 7 years of being single. 3 weeks before the prom started. And I did this because I wanted to see what a good, healthy relationship was like, and, I wanted to familiarize myself with women again. Or period, because we know how my childhood went. And during the year of self-improvement, I was pretty much in solitude for the majority of it. It was strictly working on, dieting, exercising, my habits, and, this relationship I saw as a way to help me better learn about the people and improve my social skills, romantics, it worked wonders, right? It did help. But that's not the point of this post. Had it not been for the relationship, I would have never gone to another school dance. I saw them all as a complete waste of time and money, because they were like $40 for the ticket, and let's be honest, what 7th grader has that? Alright, but truthfully, there was a lot that I came to learn from those experiences, and I believe that dancing is one of the fastest ways imaginable to build confidence or a more diverse personality, because it simply allows you to get into a flow state much easier and express yourself. Specifically, if you want to learn how to dance, all it takes is one move. You can do it for hours on end without fucking it up, and it looks great the entire time. You can modify it however you want, and even the smallest change will make it look like a completely different move. Out of the 3 moves that I learned for junior prom, this was basically the only one I did for over 3 hours of dancing. I have a tutorial for it that I'll link in the description. Feel free to check it out. I made it special for this video. The other 2 moves were a very simple slow dancing pattern and, a small shuffle. I might release videos on that in the future if you care to see that. Comment below. But I only use those 1 or 2 moves for the entirety of the dance, saving the other ones for only 1 or 2 songs. Alright, so after the dance, and even during it, I was continuously given compliment after compliment after compliment, and I was stared at in awe. People apparently thought that I knew what I was doing and that I was having a really good time and I was a really skilled dancer. Simply because I was putting 100% of my energy, or at least I looked like I was putting 100% of my energy into it. Not because I was skilled or whatever necessarily, but because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. All I knew was sidestep, right? Like just sidestep, tap, tap. And the funny part is, the following Thursday, my girlfriend even got mad at me to the point of crying because she thought that she apparently felt inadequate. She was feeling insecure because I was apparently good at everything, even dancing. And I want to be clear with you all. The reason this was funny to me was because all I did to get this kind of response was put 100% of my energy into what I was doing. It was one simple two-step pattern that I learned, and I brought my girlfriend to tears. I didn't half-ass the moves or try to, look cool, like with my hands in my pockets, staying, somewhat reserved. I was also, having those self-doubting thoughts, and, when I was dancing, because a lot of people were looking at me, and I was the only one doing what I was doing. I felt silly, you get what I mean. But I continued. Just 48 hours before prom, I didn't know what the hell dancing was. I thought breakdancing and slow dancing was the extent of it. Something I noticed to help me get my mind off of, the insecure thoughts was that I put more attention onto the other people around me. My date, the group of friends that we were with, and, what other people were dancing like. Because, honestly, I didn't know my girlfriend's friends because I didn't have any of my friend group there. So I didn't know any of them, but I was focusing on them. And I was focusing on what other people were dancing like. I'd frequently go up to the dance floor and ask people, something like, "Excuse me, you look like you know what you're doing. Can you teach me a thing or two?" And 9 times out of 10, they say that they have no clue what they're doing, and you both just end up stumbling around together. You have fun, and you figure some stuff out. It becomes fun because you feel connection to someone, and, the heat of messing up is taken off of you individually. There's a lot you can do with dancing, even simply standing in place, just snapping your fingers, right? And tapping your foot. You could just move your shoulders, your feet, your hands, your head, do like a little head nod or something. You could even just do like chest pops if you want, just like, I don't know. You can make whatever work. You don't need to know what you're doing, and in fact, it may even be an advantage to not know what you're doing, because that way when you ask someone on the dance floor how to dance, you're actually fully listening to them and focused on what they're saying rather than the negative self-limiting thoughts in your head. Just a really cool tip that I've found. But in a broad sense, what does all of this take? What did I do to make this transition, right? It was very simple. It was in no means easy necessarily, because we all have individual issues here that arise due to our current circumstances. That's what makes all of our journeys unique, and it shapes us as people, right? Given the things I speak about here on this channel and on my subreddit, r/holistic improvement, you will be able to solve all of those issues. I'm giving you the tools to be able to solve all those. But the one thing that I found that helped me through all of it was open-mindedness. Being able to roll with the punches and not allowing yourself to be taken too seriously. Allowing yourself to be able to laugh with the group. And, most people have very little awareness to how their actions affect others. Right? So, don't let the little things that people say affect you personally, because chances are they don't realize what they're saying, or the impact it's going to have on you. I understand it is a hard thing to do, especially if you're new to self-improvement and you may not feel as though you have like many hours or whatever put in, or like progress made, achievements. But look at the amount of work you have put in, right? Even better, look at the discomfort you're currently in, right? This mental turmoil that you're in, the feeling of guilt and shame, that's the worst feelings a person could feel. You're currently increasing your awareness to become a better person. Congratulations, dude. Like, you're already surpassing at least 50% of men right now. If you're younger, then maybe 80%, because let's face it, most kids aren't going to be looking at content like this. They're going to be off watching TikTok or something. Keep these things in your mind. Look at your willingness and your drive to want more for yourself. And as you navigate the challenges and become a lifelong student, focus on other people and reflect after every experience, both good and bad, to see what you can learn from it, right? Because if you've read any of my other posts, if on Reddit, if you've watched any of my videos, you probably know just how much, hidden value is in your time spent. Regardless of what you spend your time on, you can always derive value from it. You know the hard work you've put in. You know what you're willing to do and what you're willing to sacrifice. And you have that future vision of your ideal self in mind. You know what you're willing to sacrifice to get there. So go get it, bro. You've got this. Stay on task.